friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about solving equations with fractions and variables on both sides. In this case, we also have distribution here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get your notebook out, make sure that you're copying down this problem. And what we're going to do first, before we deal with those fractions, we actually have to distribute them. So I'm going to multiply this times this. That's really negative 1 over 10 times 7 over 1, because remember, I'm allowed to turn anything into a fraction as long as I put it over 1. Okay, so I just turned my 7x and my 25 into a fraction. Now, remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So we get negative 7 over 10. So let's take that info back here. All right, now we do negative 1/10 times 5 halves. And notice I'm doing all my fraction work is side work off to the side. It'll make it a lot cleaner and nicer, and you won't lose track of where you are. Half the battle in math is staying organized. All right, so I'm doing negative 1/10 times 5 halves. Before I go multiplying straight across the top, straight across the bottom, let's just cross cancel. If I divide by 5, I get 1. Divide by 5, I get 2. So this leaves me with negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. So I have, oops, I forgot my x here, you saw, x. And a negative times a positive is a negative 1/4. All right, now let's do 1/4 to 16/5. So again, side work, 1/4 times 16/5. And I want to cross cancel to make my life easier. Divide by 4, I get 1. Divide by 4, I get 4. Multiply straight across top, straight across the bottom, we get 4 over 5. So let's take that information back over here. We get 4 over 5x. This time I won't forget my x. Okay, now we're going to do 1/4 times 25 is a negative 25. So 1/4 times negative 25 over 1 equals, I can't cross cancel anything, so it's just negative 25 over 4. So minus 25 over 4. Okay, so now all of our chunks here, or terms, have are all a fraction, right? They don't have a common denominator, but they're all considered a fraction. So and when I say chunks, I mean these guys right here. They're broken up by addition, subtraction, and the equal sign. So we got 4 chunks there. Our denominator is 10, 4, and 5. So 4, 5, and 10. Let's see if we can find a common denominator with those. If we count by 4s, we get 8, 12, 16, and remember 10 is, anything that's a multiple of 10 has to end in a 0. So far none of these are working. And then 20. Oh, that'll work, right? Because if we do 10, 20, 30, now does 20 go into 5? Yep, 5, 10, 15, and then 20. So it looks like our common denominator for these is going to be 20. And notice I'm finding the common denominator before I start moving things. That's because I'm lazy. I don't want to have to do more than I absolutely have to. And I hate fractions because that's a lot of work. So we're going to take these fractions out before we even go moving anything. However, you can't do that until you distribute. So, all right, now at this point, we have found our common denominator is 20. So what do I need to multiply this 10 by to get 20? Times 2. And of course, if I do it downstairs in the denominator, I got to do it upstairs in the numerator. Here, I need to multiply by 5. So times 5 times 5, times 4 times 4. Oops, there we go. Times, down here, 5 times 5. Now, on this one, you want to be really careful because these variables can either be written like this, where it's in the middle, or upstairs. One of the, it can be either or. You don't want to move your variables downstairs because if you do that, you're in Algebra 2 and we need to have a conversation. So let's go ahead and rewrite this guy now that we have our common denominator. Negative 14, and I'm going to take that x and attach it upstairs so I don't lose it. Over 20 minus 5 over 20 equals 16x, I don't want to lose that x, over 20 minus 125 over 20. Excellent. Now, this guy is an equation, not an expression. And the difference is you see an equal sign. With an equation, we're solving, right? We want to solve for our x here. With an expression, you're not solving, you're just simplifying. This trick that I'm about to show you only works with equations. Don't do this if you're doing an expression, you'll mess it up. Now, all of our chunks here have a common denominator, which means we can just cancel that denominator out, and now suddenly we don't have any more fractions. Yes. So we have negative 14x minus 5 equals 16x minus 125. And this looks a lot more manageable than this one that we had all the way at the beginning. All right, now the next step that you want to do is solve by moving your variables over. Now, you're not wrong if you want to add 5 to both sides. That's totally fine. But I'm going to tell you it's a good habit to get into to combine your variables first, so that on the rare chance that you get an answer is 0, you'll be a lot less confused if you have your variables already together. So we're going to minus 16x first. Personally, I like to move my x's to the left, or my variables to the left. Even though that's giving us a negative, that's fine. All right, so that is going to be negative 30x minus 5 equals, don't forget your negative sign here. We got negative 125. All right, now we're in a position to be able to get this chunk with the x by itself by adding 5 to both sides. So add 5. So negative 30x equals negative 120. These guys are different teams, and the larger team is the negative one, and the difference between the two teams is 120. Divide both sides by negative 30. Now, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that's going to go away. We can lob off our zeros here. You can only do that with zeros. Don't do that with any other number. And that leaves us with 12 over 3, which we know reduces down to 4. So x equals 4. There you have it, friends. Look forward to seeing you next time.